We have always contended there's others involved. At the time of my arrest, there was 4 other suspects. 3 of the suspects that we knew that they knew then was Michael Rossi, David Cram, and Philip Paskey, all employees of PDM contractors, all with keys to the house on Summerdale.
Was there a lot of noise in the house with other people, anything like that?
No. I had a habit of, I didn't like his friends, and I had a younger son that kind of associated with some of his lads, and one time I got a retired daughter that woke up, Dad, she says, Ronnie's got a friend in the house. And it was one of his employees, and I'd get a hold of Ronnie, I says, take that guy and get him out of here. 3 o'clock in the morning, you're not going to bring no friend into the house. And I put them both out. My son said, if he goes, I go. I says, then you go too with him. And they spent a night in the house. And I went there the following night, and I told John, I caught this one kid. I said, if I ever catch you in the house, I said, I'll break your neck for you. Because I just don't like him in here. You know, not 3 in the morning. And John says, you stay out of Eddie's house. Even if Ronnie calls you in there, you have no business in there. Because I've had a number of articles vanish in the house, and we have no idea where they went. I lost a $1,000 diamond ring. I got no idea where it went to. It could have been some of his weird friends that Ron would bring in there.
I'm not interested in what the public thinks. My fight is in the courts. And while I have been fighting with the appeal, it's been an uphill battle because I am an unpopular cause. Too much public pressure, too much politics to give me a hearing so that I can prove that the state withheld evidence favorable to me, that the identifications of some of the victims was wrong, and that my attorney was more concerned about book rights and how sensationally more the case could get, the higher the value of the book. Keep in mind, the public has been brainwashed, and nearly 80% of what is known about me is fantasy and self-serving theories of the state. But overall, I am an embarrassment on the justice system, because if I am right, then they are wrong, and the killers are still out there. For political reasons, it would be better that I drop dead. Then they could all say what a great job they've done, and nobody else would be pushing for the truth to come out.
Have one suspect in custody. Are you satisfied at this point that he was acting alone?
At this point, I am satisfied he is acting alone with the facts that are before me, but the Sheriff's Department and the Department of Justice will make the final determination on that.
So you're not discounting the possibility that he was part of some larger conspiracy?
I never discount anything, but again, I do not believe it was a conspiracy.
Given his crimes, Mr. Sullivan, and
took who back from that?
The family, the bedroom, the 4 members.
All right, what happened then?
At that time, I tied him up.
While still holding him at gunpoint?
Well, in between tying and yes. Yeah.
All right.
There is no way that this guy watched my family and then walked all the way from wherever he walked from and approached my house and took on my father, my dog, and my mother at the same time with with the handgun. First off, look at the knots. Those ropes that were on my family weren't going to be untied. Why is a chair in my brother's room? And they made my dad sit in that chair and watch them kill my little baby brother. They untied my father in the middle of the torture session. Why? Because they needed him to write something. What do you need from a person? A map or a signature?
I mean, I don't have the answers. I have my theories and my ideas, you know. But I really feel that his son that's talking now, he may be right.
My father was killed for a purpose, for information. My dad used to go out with the heads of security of Panama, import-export dealers, big people, high level society and power. And that doesn't add up for tech sergeant in the Air Force.
Police department at that time sent, I don't remember who it was, but they sent a couple detectives to Panama because we felt like there might be a connection between his military and Panama. And I think mainly because we come up with this composite of the guy that stole their car, and he was a South American looking person. I don't know, Mexican or whatever.
My life is cleansed, man. I've been purified from all question and wonder as to how my family died. I have questions as far as why my family died. How better to cover up a contracted hit on a spy than to make it look like some pervert broke into the house and killed people and jacked off on everything.
She believes if police forces had better informed residents about everything that happened, Jessica Lloyd might have been on guard, and perhaps survived.
Nothing was said about anything, and Jessica wasn't part of my, she was a younger woman. She wasn't part of my surrounding women friends or friends of friends. So, I mean, I just feel sorry that maybe she should be still alive.
The police evidence mounted against Angelo Bono, Kenneth Bianchi's alleged accomplice. Though Bono still denied any involvement with the crimes, the police searched his house, hoping to find some evidence that would link him with the murders. They found a loaded revolver in his office and a cupboard full of firearms, including shotguns and a Tommy gun, and, more importantly, they found a wallet bearing the imprint of a police-type badge, which Mr. Bianchi had claimed was used to pick up the victims.
What we also have to consider is what was not found at the time of the searches, and I'm referring to things that we know that Angelo Bono possessed that were not there when the police searched his house. Specifically, there was no police badge found, which we knew he owned. There were no handcuffs found, which we knew he owned. And there was no 5-foot gas pipe found, which was attached to Angelo Bono's stove and which was used to kill one of the girls by means of asphyxiation. And we knew that he had bought a 5-foot gas pipe and it was not present at the time of the search. Finally, there were no fingerprints found anywhere in the house, which is kind of unusual in that you would expect in the house, a house where people live, that there would be some fingerprints found on the walls someplace, but there were none found anywhere.
is innocent.
Do you have any way of what do you base your opinion on?
I base my opinion on the report from the expert of the state, Mr. Stottlemyers, who has already made the report to the state that none of the evidence that has thus far been submitted to the state bears with Corona being guilty in any what way. But they're keeping this quiet. They're not making it public. We know this for a fact.
In reality, they don't even have enough evidence to be holding him. He should be free. He should be out in the street, but they won't let him go.
Remember, let them know that I know that the cops knew who I was. After Richard Mallory died, I left prints everywhere, and they covered it up. And let me kill the rest of those guys to turn me into a serial killer. I know they did, because I was no professional serial killer or anything, or murderer, or whatever you want to call it, you know. I wasn't professional at what I was doing.
Eileen,
I did some sloppy work, you know, and I left
How
prints.
have you prepared yourself for tomorrow morning?
I'm all right with it. Yeah, I'm ready to go. Hey, I was tortured at BCI. They had the intercom on in the room, and they kept lying that it wasn't on, and they were using sonic pressure on my head since 1997.
Sonic
And every
pressure.
time I was trying to write something, I think they had some kind of eye in the cell, I'm not sure, but every time I started writing something, it went up higher. So I'm thinking that probably had the TV rigged. The TV or the mirror, something was rigged. They got a huge satellite on the compound. After they put the huge satellite on the compound, it could have been either rigged to the TV set or the mirror or something, because the electrician, when he put the mirror on the wall, he said, doesn't that look like a computer? The back of it, and he stuck it to the wall.
And do you think, did that affect your mind, do you think?
Huh?
Did that affect your mind in some way, the sonic?
It was crushing my head, and they were using sonic pressure continually. Then when I had 3 meetings with Miss Villacorta on it, every meeting I had, she increased the pressure of the volume of the comm, increased the harassment on the floor, increased the trays being inedible, just increased every bit of my complaints and trashed all grievances. They're trying to make it look like I was crazy at all times, rig up the room with torture. If I said anything about I think their whole plan was trying to make it look like I was totally crazy, and so nobody would believe anything I had to say about anything, and then drive me there if they could. I suffered so bad. I was really struggling to survive. Had a lot of trays that were attempted murder and everything. I had to wash all my food off. And then one day I didn't wash my food off, and I was sick for 3 weeks, almost died.
What more is there to say about the cops? What more do you want to say about the cops?
A lot of stuff. Did you know that they were surveilling me before I killed? And then I knew it? And that it was covered up? Did you know there was helicopters dropping down from the sky, deputy sheriff, with decoys picking me up 4 or 5 months before my arrest? It was covered up?
But nonetheless,
Nobody ever asked me these questions.
Whether the cops were following you or not, Eileen.
Oh, whether the cops were following me or not, Eileen,
okay,
what?
let's say the cops were following you.
Yeah.
Let's say they were following you and they did everything that you're saying they did. Nonetheless, you killed 7 men.
Yes, you
and
did.
I'm asking you, what got you to kill the 7 men?
And I'm telling you, because the cops let me keep killing them, Nick. Don't you get it?
Not everybody is killing 7 people. So there must have been something in you that was getting you to do that.
Oh, you are lost, Nick.
So
I was a hitchhiking hooker.
Right.
Running into trouble, I shoot the guy if I ran into trouble. Physical trouble. The cops knew it. When the physical trouble came along, let her clean the streets, and then we'll pull her in.
But
That's
how come
why.
there was so much physical trouble in because it was all in 1 year? 7 people in 1
Oh,
year.
well. Oh, well.
But why not say no?
Because I'm out of retaliation for taking my life like this and getting rich off it all these years in total pathological lying. Yeah, thanks a lot. I lost my fucking life because of it. Couldn't even get a fair trial. Couldn't even get a fair investigation or nothing. Couldn't even have my appeals right. You sabotaged my ass, society, and the cops, And the system, a raped woman got executed. It was used for books and movies and shit. Ladder climbs, re-election, everything else. I got a big finger in all your faces. Thanks a lot. You're an inhumane bunch of fucking living bastards and bitches, and you're gonna get your asses nuked in the end. And pretty soon it's coming. 2019, Iraq's supposed to hit you anyhow. You're all gonna get nuked.